The fluorescent lights of the emergency room cast harsh shadows across Maria's weathered face as she clutched the crumpled $20 bill in her trembling hands. It was all she had left in the world, and it wasn't nearly enough to cover her daughter's medication. 8-year-old Sophia lay unconscious in the hospital bed, her small chest rising and falling with mechanical precision, tethered to machines that beeped with the rhythm of borrowed time. The doctor's words echoed in Maria's mind like a death sentence. Without the treatment, she has maybe 48 hours. Maria had crossed 3 states and walked the last 15 miles when her car broke down, carrying Sophia on her back when the little girl could no longer walk. Every door she'd knocked on for help had closed in her face. Every government office had buried her in paperwork and waiting lists. Every charity had exhausted their funds. Now, sitting in this sterile room that smelled of disinfectant and desperation, she felt the weight of absolute helplessness crushing her chest. "Excuse me, ma'am," a gentle voice broke through her spiral of despair. Maria looked up to see a young janitor, probably no older than 20, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. His name tag read, "David. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation with the nurse. Your daughter, she needs medication." Maria nodded, not trusting her voice. The kindness in this stranger's eyes was almost too much to bear. "How much?" David asked quietly, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. $3,000, Maria whispered, the number feeling like shards of glass in her throat. "I only have 20. David was quiet for a long moment, his eyes moving from Sophia's still form to Maria's desperate face. Then, without a word, he pulled out his phone and began typing rapidly. Maria watched in confusion as he seemed to be composing some kind of message, his fingers flying across the screen with urgent purpose. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Something I should have done a long time ago," David replied, still typing. "I'm not rich, ma'am. I make minimum wage cleaning these floors. But I have something else." He held up his phone, showing her a social media app. "I have a voice." Maria watched in amazement as David began recording a video, his voice steady and clear despite his obvious nervousness. "Hey everyone, this is David from St. Mary's Hospital. I'm here with Maria and her 8-year-old daughter Sophia, who needs medication that costs $3,000 or she might not make it through the weekend. I know most of you don't know me from Adam, and I know we're all struggling these days, but sometimes we get a chance to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Sometimes we get to be somebody's miracle." He showed Sophia sleeping peacefully, then Maria's tear-streaked face. "I'm going to donate my next paycheck, which is about $400. I know it's not much, but if even 10% of my followers could spare just $10, we could save this little girl's life tonight. And if you can't spare the money, just share this. Please, help me show this mom that she's not alone in this world." David posted the video and immediately began sharing it across every platform he could think of. "Now we wait," he said, settling into the chair next to Maria. "And we pray." At first, nothing happened. Then David's phone began to buzz. Once, twice, then constantly. The video was being shared, and with each share came donations. $5 from a college student, 20 from a grandmother in Nebraska, 50 from a small business owner in Texas. The notifications came faster and faster, a digital avalanche of compassion. But it wasn't just the money that moved Maria to tears. It was the messages, hundreds of them, parents sharing their own stories of sick children, strangers offering prayers in a dozen different languages, a retired nurse from Oregon who promised to call her connections to expedite Sophia's treatment, a truck driver who had lost his own daughter and wanted to help another father never feel that pain. Within 2 hours, they had raised not just $3,000 but $8,000. The extra money, David insisted, should go toward Maria's car repairs and housing while Sophia recovered. But the miracle wasn't finished yet. Dr. Richardson, Sophia's attending physician, appeared at Maria's side with tears in her eyes. "I saw the video," she said quietly. "My daughter shared it with me. I've been practicing medicine for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like this." She paused, seemingly struggling with her words. The pharmaceutical company's regional manager saw the video too. "They're donating the medication, all of it, and the hospital board has agreed to waive all treatment fees." Maria collapsed into David's arms, sobbing with relief and disbelief. Around them, the emergency room had transformed. Nurses who had maintained professional distance were now stopping by to check on Sophia. Other patients' families were sharing their own resources, offering Maria food, clothes, a place to stay. As Sophia's eyes fluttered open the next morning, her fever finally broken, she looked up at her mother with confusion. "Mama, why are there so many people here?" Maria looked around the room, now filled with strangers who had become family. David sat in the corner, dark circles under his eyes from staying up all night moderating comments and coordinating help. Dr. Richardson was reviewing Sophia's charts with renewed vigor. A local reporter had arrived, wanting to share the story of how a minimum-wage janitor had mobilized a community to save a life. "They're here because someone believed we were worth saving, Mija," Maria whispered to her daughter. "And then he helped everyone else believe it too." David looked up from his phone, where the video had now been viewed over 2 million times. "You know what's crazy?" he said to Maria. "I almost didn't say anything. I walked past your room 3 times before I got up the courage to talk to you. I kept thinking, who am I to help? I'm just a janitor. I don't have money or power or connections. But you had something more important," Maria replied, taking his hand. "You had the courage to care about a stranger. And the wisdom to know that sometimes the smallest voice can create the loudest echo." 3 months later, Sophia was healthy and thriving in a new school district, supported by an education fund the online community had established. David had been promoted to hospital coordinator of patient advocacy, a position created specifically for him. But more importantly, the video had sparked something larger. Hospitals across the country had started similar programs, connecting patients in need with communities willing to help. The $20 bill Maria had clutched so desperately that night remained taped to her bathroom mirror, a reminder that sometimes our smallest offerings, combined with someone else's courage, can move mountains. And in a world that often feels cold and disconnected, it proved that humanity's greatest superpower has always been its capacity to see a stranger's pain as worthy of its own healing touch.